Alright, so this is the standard ABCs of attraction structure for night game, right? A, B, C, D, E, F. And this is the appropriate energy level to match the phase of the structure that you're in. Now in day game, you actually need to maintain this exact same structure. It's exactly the same, but the energy level changes, right? The part of the structure that changes is actually around here, in this region. Because when you're in a nightclub situation, it's perfectly normal to go up to somebody and say, "Hey, what's up? You look awesome. What are you guys celebrating?" Right? Because you're being social, you can go up to somebody, you can just pump their BT, it's no problem. When you're in a daytime setting, it's not socially appropriate to say things like that and to have that level of energy, which is the approach and then the energy increasing up to the B phase. So instead, you'd be a little bit more calm and a little bit more low-key. Let's say you're in your grocery store. You're like, so which do you like better, apples or oranges? Or which one should I get, these oranges or the Valencia oranges? Something situational, because you're already, day game by definition, you're going to be in some kind of situation. Like everybody needs to buy food. Everybody goes to the bookstore if they're literate, right? So that part, you might have to have this energy level somewhere over here for the A and B phase. Now, the comfort phase, you're still going to have to go into comfort. You're still going to have to get to know her better. And the way to do that is after you've been doing your improvising and situational stuff, you have to get her to move someplace with you. So in the nightclub, that could be from here to like 2 steps over, or on the couches over there. But in the daytime, you want to probably bounce her to a coffee shop. Or if you're in one of those really cool supermarkets, Woolworths, that's in the mall, then there's a food court like 20 feet away. It's like right there. And it's like, if she's out there and she's shopping, she's doing something, it's probably on her way to do something else. So then you can have your mini date right there before she goes to do her next thing. And then you have time. You have your game time to be in the C phase. And then direct interest, you express your direct interest in her at some point during that interaction. Your escalation is slightly different from the escalation in the club, but you still need to do it. So in the club, you can do your escalation where you get all hot and heavy with her, you take her into the corner and you start making out with her there. Can't do that in the daytime. So escalation is a little bit different. Maybe you're going to be more subtle about it. Use your sexual innuendo. Bring up sexual topics, but in a slightly indirect way. They talk about things that are not sexual, but use a sexual tone of voice. Like you still have to do it, but it's in a more subtle way with like less energy. And then, so another thing is, you can go for the makeout in the club, probably not going to go for the makeout in the supermarket. Although that is possible, and I've done this, so you can do this and it's perfectly okay if you accomplish that. But then you have other problems associated with that. So in the nightclub setting, when you get the makeout, if there's tongue involved, probably not going to get the next date with her. The same thing goes in the day game. So all the same rules apply, you just have to adjust the energy to the appropriate level. And then F is also still possible. So as I mentioned, in the daytime, girls will be like in the middle of grocery shopping, then they got to go get a new pair of shoes and a handbag, and then you'll never see them again. But you can actually do all these steps, do the escalation, get the phone number, allow her to finish what she's doing, and meet up with her later in the day, and still get to the F phase on the same day, and if not on the same day, on the next day. And that's all for day game. Any questions?
Cool. So, easy to remember this is whatever her energy level is, you want to be kind of matching. So if her energy level at club is very high, you want to be very high as well, even a little bit higher. In the day, she's looking at a can of peas, the energy level is going to be pretty low as well. The instant dates, the little mini dates, that's the best part of day game, is sitting down to have a meat pie, sitting down to have a pastry or a cup of coffee, real quick. Get her phone number, make plans for later, hang out later. The very best thing about day game, and which is why I would encourage every single one of you guys to do day game as well as night game, is you get more real quality women there. You're not going to get these ADD drunk girls. You're going to get like normal, real girls. And you'll be really surprised that the girl at your local supermarket or your local bookstore, do you guys go to like Borders or Barnes and Nobles? Alright, bookstores are a great place to meet girls. This is basically where it's evolving in the United States because at bars and clubs it's gotten so crazy. Alright, so a lot of people do day game now. Alright, so social game, day game is supplements to your normal pickup for night game. So set 1 or 2 days aside every week to do it. I mean, I used to do it on my lunch break. When I used to go to work, I would eat at my desk, but I would go do that 1 hour. I would either go to a coffee shop or bookstore and day game. I'll get a girl's phone number and say, hey, I gotta go back to work, but let's meet up for drinks after work. I get off at 5. Really easy, right? On weekends, go to the supermarket. That's the other reason why I told you guys, make sure you're always dressed nice. Because it's really easy to go to the supermarket, to Woolworths, dress like a bum, right? But if you only have cool clothes, you show up and you always look pretty good. Right? Don't go in a day game, dressed to like the nines. But stuff like let's say what I'm wearing now. I'm wearing jeans, some Converse, a cool shirt, and like just a really casual jumper. You're still stylish. So it fits the setting. But the girl is like, oh, he's a good-looking guy. He's not overdoing it, but he's very stylish. Right? The reason why I have to wear this is because I don't have any other clothes that's ugly, because I threw everything away. So do the same thing for yourselves. All right.
Just some of my personal experience in doing day game. Right. When I actually first started out, I was exclusively doing night game. That was all I was interested in. I thought the girls were hotter, and also this is what we learned, so I'm just going to follow this structure step by step only and just do that, forget about everything else. Later on, I realized that actually I was limiting my pool of choices, so I started to experiment with it. But one thing I want to mention is it's extremely difficult for a person to actually calibrate well for both day game and night game simultaneously. You have to be able to mentally distinguish between the two, because calibrating for one is completely different from calibrating for the other. But when you got this going, everything works out great. Because I had one case where when I first started out, I was doing the day game and absolutely nothing was working. I was doing the structure, I'm reducing my energy level, I'm following all the steps. The girls were like Teflon. It just doesn't stick. Nothing sticks, right? And I actually had a wingman come out with me to observe from a distance, and I had him help me recalibrate my energy level. So then I started utilizing other places, because I was starting out with my day game just in a public park. I started utilizing the supermarket, and the same principles that you have in night game where you want to push yourself as far as possible, I applied that to the supermarket day game. So one of my best sets ever was, I was in the supermarket and there's a small cafe area on the second floor. So I get in there and I went up to a set, there were 3 girls there. I actually found out 2 seconds into the set that the girl I wanted to talk to was there with her sister and her mom. So I got in there, I went through all of these steps. We actually went on a date 3 days later and we romantically connected. So this is possible, you can totally do it, but it takes time. In order to get to that point, it was something like 4 to 6 weeks of practice, almost on a daily basis, in these public daytime places. But it's doable, and you can too. And for more information, check out www.abcofattraction.
That sounds real familiar.
That's good. And click on programs.